back to Adventures with Ariel. Today we are pitting two Universal Orlando parks against each other. The original, Universal Studios Florida, and its more thrill-oriented counterpart, Islands of Adventure. Let's see which one comes out on top. For those of you new to the channel, I put out theme park related videos every single week. I give tips and tricks for visiting the parks, theme park reviews, comparisons, all kinds of stuff. So if that all sounds good to you, then hit the subscribe button. Alright, let's do this. Some brief history. The resort's first park, Universal Studios, opened in 1990 and quickly established itself as a place where you could ride the movies. Its theming primarily focused on movies and television. A second, neighboring park was built in 1999, called Universal's Islands of Adventure. Modeled after a journey of exploration, the park allowed guests to venture through a variety of themed islands. These islands would touch upon other forms of popular culture beyond just that of movies and television. For example, Marvel's Superhero Island was mainly comic book based, the Lost Continent was themed to ancient myths and legends, and Seuss Landing was inspired, of course, by the famous works of author Dr. Seuss. As many of you probably already know, the parks of Universal Orlando Resort have gone through a lot of changes over the years. For one, the original Universal Studios park has replaced almost every single ride from its original 1990 lineup, the last remaining being the E.T. Adventure. And the Wizarding World of Harry Potter was introduced to both parks in the early 2010s through the lands of Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley. Both Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley alone are reasons you should visit both parks, but let's say you have a one-day, one-park ticket. Is Universal Studios or Islands of Adventure more worth your visit? And how do they compare in regards to theming, attractions, and overall enjoyment? Well, let's begin with theming. As I said before, Universal Studios Florida started as a park where guests could ride the movies. And even though most of its opening day attractions have been replaced, for the most part, it is stuck with this concept. The park has attractions themed off of Transformers, Fast and the Furious, Despicable Me, Shrek, Men in Black, The Mummy, E.T., and Harry Potter. Television-themed attractions include The Simpsons ride and Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. All of these attractions reside in 8 themed areas surrounding a large lagoon. These include Production Central, New York, San Francisco, Springfield, London/Diagon Alley, World Expo, Woody Woodpecker's Kid Zone, and Hollywood. Keep in mind, a few of these lands, like the attractions, are new additions and were not present in Universal's early years. These include Springfield and Diagon Alley, 2 lands that I happen to love. On their own, they are very well themed. But does the park as a whole feel as consistent as it did on opening day? Well, no, it doesn't. While the original opening day lands were all based on real US locations, Springfield and Diagon Alley are not. Also, I find that some of the attractions don't fit that well within the locations they reside. The Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket is a great example of this. As an outdoor roller coaster in a park predominantly filled with dark rides, it feels a little bit out of place and really takes away from the aesthetic of the New York skyline. As years go by, Universal Orlando drifts more away from its original concept and consistent theming. Islands of Adventure, on the other hand, has done a great job at keeping with its original theme. For one, the attractions fit perfectly into the islands in which they reside. And since its opening day, Islands of Adventure has always consisted of lands themed off of popular franchises, like Marvel Comics and Jurassic Park. Universal Studios didn't when it opened in 1990, and now it's seemingly trying to go in that direction. And the park feels more disjointed as a result. Islands of Adventure, on the other hand, has always been the thrill-oriented park where roller coasters are a welcome addition. So maybe they should have placed Rip Ride Rocket there? Well, the point is that Islands of Adventure owns Universal Studios in theming. Let's move on to attractions. My husband jokingly refers to Universal Studios Florida as 3D Land, and I can't help but think that this is a fairly accurate description. Universal Studios Florida is filled with rides that incorporate some form of 3D simulation. Just to name a few: Despicable Me, Escape from Gringotts, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, Shrek 4D, The Simpsons ride, Transformers the ride, Fast and the Furious Supercharged. You get the picture. These are all also considered indoor dark rides. If you're looking for a way to get out of the Florida heat as much as possible, then Universal Studios Florida is the park for you, no doubt about it. This park also has a fair amount of attractions that you can enjoy even if you're not that into thrills. The Universal attractions I would consider to be seriously thrilling are Escape from Gringotts, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Revenge of the Mummy, and yeah, that's it. If you're not that into thrills, then this is an excellent park for you. And if you're into thrills, then the thrilling attractions I just mentioned are all fantastic, except for Rip Ride Rocket. I hate to keep picking on this ride, but besides the fact that it looks out of place, I also got a massive headache the last time I rode it. It's rather uncomfortable. Do any of you feel that same way riding this, or is it just me? Let me know in the comments. Getting back on topic, Islands of Adventure is referred to my husband as Wetland. And there are a few water rides at this park where you will get soaking wet. These include Jurassic Park River Adventure, Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, and Popeye and Bluto's Bilge-Rat Barges. Oh, I hope I pronounced that right. Getting soaking wet is another excellent way to handle the Florida heat, and there are plenty of other outdoor attractions at the park, which include the Incredible Hulk, Dr. Doom's Fearfall, and the Flight of the Hippogriff. This park even has fantastic dark rides like Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, Skull Island, Reign of Kong, and the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. I would say that Islands of Adventure has a more massive amount of thrilling attractions than Universal. It has a couple of water flumes with big hills, a towering drop ride and roller coaster, and the Forbidden Journey. So if you're wondering which park is worth visiting for attractions, I would say it really comes down to personal preference. If you're someone who isn't that into thrills and hates the hot weather down here, which I can totally understand, Universal Studios Florida might suit you more. I also love how this park has a decent amount of shows, something that Islands of Adventure lacks in. I find animal actors on location, the horror makeup show, Fear Factor Live, and the Blues Brothers show all to be very entertaining. Islands of Adventure is a great choice for not just thrill seekers, but people like me who enjoy a little bit of everything. It has 3D dark rides, water-based attractions, a fantastic roller coaster, some great children attractions, and more. So in the end, which park would I declare the winner? Well, you probably saw it coming, but Islands of Adventure. With its fantastic theming and wide variety of incredible attractions, this theme park is a must visit, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Now, I'm not saying that Universal Studios Florida isn't a fantastic park as well, because it is. Its attractions do not disappoint, well, except for Rip Ride Rockit. Diagon Alley alone makes it worth a visit, and as I said, I think a lot of this comes down to personal preference, and there are probably a lot of people who would prefer Universal Studios over Islands of Adventure. So if you found any of this helpful or entertaining, then I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. If you've been to Universal Orlando Resort, which park do you prefer and why? I'd love to know. Alright y'all, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a magical day.